Right, guys, Summer del Piso back once again with another Twilight Zone show episode analysis. Let's get right into it. Like, comment, subscribe. The episode that I'm going to talk about is, do I dare say that it's another one of my favorites? Because Brazil, one of the subscribers of the channel, he commented, was like, oh, all your episodes are your favorite. But Twilight Zone is just that good of a show. That's why I have a lot of favorite episodes. So this one in particular, you guys, we're gonna talk about an episode. The name of the episode is called The Fever. One of the episodes from the earlier seasons of the show. It follows the story of a man named Franklin, right, and his wife. Let's give a slight synopsis, and then we're gonna get into my take and opinion about the synopsis of the episode, and just my general thoughts. Franklin and his wife go to Vegas, right, in the beginning of this episode, because I think his wife earned this voucher that allowed them to get a free trip to Vegas. But if they choose to gamble, then they'll have to use their own money. You know how these things work, obviously. They get to the place. We find out a lot about Franklin. In this first scene, the wife enters the lobby. In the lobby of the hotel that they were going to stay, they see a whole bunch of machines, slot machines, and a lot of people just enjoying themselves, swiping away, giving their money into the machine, earning nothing in return, earning an excessive amount in return, whichever. Franklin, we could tell his sentiment about the entire area. He's only on the vacation because his wife wanted to go on the vacation, and he wasn't paying a thing except, for the hotel. Honestly, you can tell that he just doesn't have any sort of happiness about being at the vacation with his wife. He's seeing everyone gamble their money away, and he's like, what a bunch of idiots. Who the heck decides to put their money into a machine and then they have a chance of losing it all? And then even if they could lose 10 times, and then if they win the 11th time, then they're going to continue even though their money is completely in the red. Franklin just does not like the idea of gambling whatsoever. His wife is like, no, nonsense, Franklin, we're here to have a good time, just stop scowling. So they check in. Time passes in the episode. His wife is playing at the slot machines. I think she lost a couple times. I forget how exactly the story went. Franklin was getting more and more mad because, he's just seeing his wife throw away their shared money into a machine that doesn't have any sort of prejudices or any qualms, any discrimination about who they swindle, really, or who they yield victory for. It's insane. So what ends up happening was someone was playing on a slot machine. This guy, Franklin was watching this guy closely. This guy's playing, he looks tired, he swipes, or he pulls the lever down. I don't know if he wins or loses or something like that, but I think it was a loss. So he lost again, he swipes the lever, and then he sees Franklin looking at him, and he said, hey, listen, he was drunk as well. I got my last token here, take this, it's free, it's yours, you have fun with it. Franklin's like, no, I couldn't possibly play the game. And he's like, no, just take it, it's yours, I'm giving it to you. You know how they always made drunk people hiccup back in the day in those old episodes. Franklin was he was so reluctant to play the game that the man ends up using Franklin's hand with the token, has him put the token inside the machine, and then pulls the lever for him. And he said, you'll thank me later. The guy stumbles off, and then Franklin's like, wait, look, this is your machine. I'm not gonna play. And then lo and behold, Franklin won a lot of tokens. So everyone was looking at Franklin. I think they gave him claps and whatnot. He got applauses all around. And Franklin sort of smiles and nods to himself. He's like, all right, I guess gambling isn't so bad, and I won the first time. Maybe I have good luck. Poor Franklin didn't understand how the casino worked, or he did, but he just sort of forgot all of that in the middle of his victory with this first game. So what he ended up doing was saying, listen, he justified to himself, I have all of this dirty money. It's money that I didn't own in the first place. So now it wouldn't hurt for me to get rid of this money via the slot machine with how I won the money. If I lose, it's okay. It's not my money to begin with. But if I win, that's more money for me. getting slowly into the trap that is the casinos and the slot machines. So Frank is playing, and his wife comes up to him and says, listen, Franklin, let's go upstairs. Let's have a good night. I can't believe you're playing these machines after you denounced them for so long. So, they go upstairs and they have their rest. Franklin, unable to sleep because he's hearing the machine call his name. This is a very iconic bit of the episode. You just hear the machine saying, Franklin. Do, 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 do. Some jazz song plays in the background. Doom, 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 doom. Franklin. Franklin looks up. He looks around. He sees the money on his drawer that he won. Then he looks back at his wife. His wife is sound asleep. And then he hears, Franklin. Then he looks at the money again, and it looks like it doubled in value. Franklin starting to sweat profusely, and he hears another, Franklin. The doubled money is now in 2 piles. Then he just suddenly gets up and then takes the coins, puts it in his pocket. The light gets turned on. His wife apprehends him. Franklin, what are you doing? It's in the middle of the night. Why are you taking that money? He justifies to his wife, listen, this is dirty money I have here. Someone gave me a token, played the slot machine for me, and then I won this money. So now I have to go downstairs and get rid of this money. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just play it in the slot machine, and if I win, that's great. If I lose, that's even better because it was dirty money to begin with. His wife shakes her head knowing that she might have lost her husband. He goes downstairs. There's a montage of Frank playing and losing money. Him signing checks, going through all of his whole bank account, right? The shared bank account with him and his wife, losing all of this money, right? So people are saying that, I've never seen someone like that before. He definitely has the fever. He's lost in the machine. The morning comes about, right? Franklin has stayed downstairs and played the slot machines all night. Lost so much money. The wife comes and tries to slap him together, saying, listen, we have to stop this. We were losing so much money. We actually are leaving with less money than we came in with. He's like, please, we just got to play one more time. I know I could win this. I could feel it. The machine is playing with me. It has a mind of its own, honey. He puts his last coin into the machine, and then the machine gets stuck. The lever gets stuck, and he goes crazy. He's like, this machine took my money. He goes wild. Long story short, I think what ends up happening at the end of the episode was he tries to go upstairs to get even more money, but then the slot machine, he sees this slot machine, right, following him, saying, Franklin, 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 right, chasing the poor old man. And then what ends up happening, I think he jumps out the window and he ends up dying. There's a chilling monologue actually, no, there wasn't any monologues at this part of the season, this season in particular. So that's unfortunately what happens. Let's talk about what this has to do with us, right? Us individuals that follow the channel and that's interested in semen retention. So you see, what that slot machine signifies really is just the addiction to things. The addiction, of course, in this case, to adult film content. You see, we are addicted to the feeling of orgasm. We are addicted to the feeling of release. And so we find it in everything to try to, well, we find it in that kind of content to get that feeling over and over again. We run the risk in the pursuit of this feeling of severing our friendship, severing our relationship with our parents, our siblings, family members, so on and so forth. There are many a story of individuals that got a scholarship to college, right? Through some sport of some kind, may it be football, basketball, hockey, lacrosse, field hockey, whichever. And they get into that whole partying lifestyle. The partying, of course, it comes with doing drugs, the tickling of the dopamine receptors, having sex, tickling of the dopamine receptors again, and of course, the chasing of alcohol, everything that comes with it at the expense of their maintenance of their physical health and mental health that got them the scholarship in the first place to stay in the college. We hear the story, of course, not even just in college, but in businesses, in the corporate life. We have individuals that come from more traditional backgrounds, may it be coming from the Philippines, parts of Mexico, just more rural traditional areas, and they come to the city and they start living it up. They get into that whole lifestyle of just tickling the dopamine receptors and fulfilling the will, the autonomous will of the nervous system, which is seeking pleasure and sustenance to perpetuate pleasure. And as a result, they lose themselves. Franklin was just a poor victim of the system, the setup of the system in place in order to not only goad the sexual appetite, but to accelerate it and perpetuate it to the heights of what superstimuli would do to your senses when consumed. Franklin had a good mind. In the beginning, when he entered the casino, right, when he entered the hotel, he had a very, very good, solid, disciplined mind. He knew exactly what the system was. He knew exactly how the system functioned and what was the primary directive of the system in place, the casino, to take people's money, to have them afflicted with that whole fever, which unfortunately and inevitably caught Franklin once he chose to continuously indulge in the machine. We are all like that when we begin our streaks, when we begin our practices in semen retention. We begin with the whole idea of, I know that sex is bad ultimately for the male because you lose energy and then you lose the mental faculty and the creative thinking faculty, the critical thinking faculty, and you become more and more enslaved by your nervous system when I indulge. I know that. I also know that adult film content is completely horrible for you because it consistently switches out all of these different mates, all these possible sexual mates. Over and over and over again in small periods of time, so the individual can't really ascertain, or the brain, much more specifically, can't really ascertain what is real or not. Because the brain is getting flooded with all this dopamine and continuously seeks that hit, sort of like pulling the lever on the slot machine in order to get its fill. And by the end of after 2 hours, after 3 hours, by the end of the 4th hour, it is all too late. The individual has already indulged and he has to start back at zero. His streak completely gone. Complete victim of the machinations of this great system that perpetuates sin, that perpetuates release. We need, of course, to be like Franklin in the beginning, but we need to keep that behavior and insight throughout the entirety of our streaks. You see, on semen retention, you will get tempted by your friends. You will get tempted by your individuals around you. You will get tempted by the advertisements, the YouTube videos, the small snapshots of other people's lives that seem pleasurable, that seem very great and fulfilling, although they are partaking in this vice over and over again at the expense of the stark, powerful manipulation of their aura and the reinforcement of the critical thinking faculty and the creative thinking faculty in the brain. We follow these things to the end and we sort of get lost. I'm not gonna lie, of course I'm in this system as well. And so I am bombarded by these advertisements and these ways of life all the time. You will have individuals that will indirectly attack you as well. There are people that will be your friend. There are people that stop being your friend all of a sudden in order for you to sort of question these aspects about yourself that you have taken upon, which is the reinforcement of your poise and polarizing mindset about staying on semen retention, and then you release. What I'm saying to you is this. Franklin was a victim of his environment. What we must do is stay on semen retention despite how powerful the environment is and how it affects us, and triumph over it. Recently, I was almost a victim of release. I was almost a victim of losing my streak and falling into the ways of the world. I fell victim to the environment. I was basically under assault by the consistent barraging of my filters, my faculties of ascertainment of what's good and bad, especially in regards to my practice. What I am telling you is this: attain the mindset of the Franklin in the beginning of this episode that I just described and analyzed of the Twilight Zone. Understand what you are going into, the system, the methods of attack. And if you cannot perceive all of the methods of attack, because it is numerous and it is myriad, it is a legion of them, understand what it is you need to maintain of yourself. You understand that, then you will not be victim. You will not fall danger to the methods of attack casted upon you by the system. And with that being said, that is all I have to say about this Twilight Zone episode analysis, The Fever, tonight. If you enjoyed that kind of content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers. Don't ever let this place get you down. Remember, semen retention is not just a momentary choice that one decides upon when they learn about the practice and begin the practice. It is a choice that one needs to perpetually make every single moment of every single hour of every single day in order to stay successful on the practice. Individuals will broadcast all these types of lifestyles to you. Celebrities have myriad issues, mental problems because of the overindulgence of this fluid, of this act, the overindulgence of this behavior. What you need to do as men is understand exactly what you're getting yourself into, have a goal, have a mission, and continue with that mission. And stay radiant. I shall see you guys in the next video. Woo!